Hey, Mark.
Thanks for coming out here. Have you considered offering Rerolling One's merchandise, preferably shirts and dice?
We haven't said no.
Yeah.
Our
Oh, we need
viewers.
to edit that out. We need to say, hey, Shu.
Shu,
You
yeah.
can't know that your name's Mark, even though
They-
Doug says...
He only calls me Mark. So why is Brent's beard color so much different from his head hair? Asking for my sister.
What?
This is from
Oh, it
Paolo
is!
Lord.
Holy crap!
You just noticed?
No, I'm doing it for the camera.
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
will.
Okay.
It's genetics.
Genes.
Yeah.
Blessings of Grimnir.
This question comes from M. Tuk Tuk. How did you guys meet each other in the first place, and how did you start the hobby?
Okay, let's go with meet each other first.
Sure.
Shu is a random person I met on the internet. And I started the hobby because I had an English friend who was like, this is all we do in England is play Warhammer.
Really? Like, how old were you?
13.
13 years old. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I met Shu and Brent at the same time. First, I know most of you probably know Doug from 2+ Stuff. Me and my brother got back into AOS after about a 15-year gap from Fantasy Battle to this. And Doug mentioned he was from the Northwest, and I got a game in with him, kicked the crap out of him. But then he brought me to Shu's house for a Triumph and Treachery game in which I met Shu, who I thought he was Mormon at first because he was super, super nice and he had a lot of kids. And I was a little standoffish with Brent, and I thought he was a know-it-all at first because he knew everything. But then he was cool, and plus it weirded me out that he didn't drink. But then he's that's my homie.
We're the drinkers.
Yeah.
We drink enough for Brent.
Yeah.
It's actually, I wanted to start a YouTube channel a while ago, and I was talking to Brent. I'm like, I just need, the right crew. And one night we were all standing together, and Brent goes, "Let's just do it." And here we are. Bin Slagala says, "What do you do for a living?"
I work for UPS, delivery driver.
I work for Pokemon Company.
I work in the video game industry. I'm gonna withhold.
Oh, I work for a carrier. Edit that up.
Jackson Goyette says, "What is the one AOS faction that none of you have considered collecting? Also, maybe we could see some Fire Slayers at some point. Well, we've had Fire Slayers on.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few times. We've actually had a Fire Slayer in the room with us.
Yeah, that was cool. Faction that haven't considered playing.
That I would never consider playing.
Death. I'm not.
Dwarven.
Not Death, but like Nagash.
Blades of Corn.
Yeah.
That's cool. Dwarf.
Dwarven for sure.
Okay.
And I've thought about playing free people.
Yeah. Eric Anderson says, "Will we see some Hedon Knights of Slaanesh piloted by Jack with the new models?"
Yes.
Higher Fantasy, our old friend Higher Fantasy asks...
Oh, that's my homie.
Yeah, he's been with us since the beginning.
Yeah,
just about.
yeah.
What has been the greatest challenge you've overcome as a channel? I think the greatest challenge we've overcome as a channel is not exploding or imploding.
Yeah, keeping at it.
Keep going.
Yes.
Yep.
I think maybe we missed a couple weeks, but because sometimes life gets in the way. He's like, you're not feeling well. It's just like, but I have to say, it's been definitely a shining light in can be a dark period at times, but I enjoy what I'm doing, and guys like you, Higher Fantasy, make me want to keep doing it.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for following us on Instagram,
Yeah.
like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not in danger of imploding because of working together. It's just, I think anybody who has kind of worked on something creative knows that burnout is real, and just staying consistent with something is difficult, but it's totally worth it.
Vandal says, "Can Stormcast slap the jeans out of Space Marine?" Yes.
Because Space Marines die, and Stormcast just
That's
comes
a good
back.
point.
Yeah, you have to get the gene seed pulled out by an apothecary in order to be carried on
Yeah.
your martial memories.
I mean,
And
if
the
you-
Stormcast Sigmar just has to go, and you just...
I mean,
back.
do they have the equipment and stuff in arsenal? Because they have bolter guns and grav tanks and whatnot. I don't play 40k.
Oh, well, I mean,
They're not made of lightning.
Yeah, if you're talking about who'd win in a fight, probably a Space Marine. Because Space Marines shoot things, shoot through bars and stuff. Come on. David Lortson says, "Can we expect a dispossessed match?" I think we might have already touched on this answer. And also a collab from Ash from Gorilla Miniature Gaming. I saw Shu rocking the t-shirt last video. So that's one of my favorite T-shirts because it's got crazy like Necromunda style art on it. Plus, I like pimping that channel. He's a really cool guy. But he lives 500 miles or 1,500 miles away. So
he lives in a country that won't let Shu in.
Country will okay, Canada will let me in. I just have to ask. I just have to get a passport. Anyways, yes.
You can get an enhanced license.
It'd be cool. I don't know. I'll hit the guy up. Maybe that'll happen. What's the most badass faction and why is it the Ever Chosen?
Badass faction.
Asked by W. Henry.
There's only 3 models in Ever Chosen. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. What are we quantifying badass?
Maybe that proves it. Maybe they are the most badass. You're gonna have an army with 3 models.
I think. Let me just rewind that question a little bit. I think the most badass depiction of a Warhammer model has to be the Skaven Doom Wheel with the Skaven driver doing the fist pump, like full on, like arm in the air.
I think it's subjective.
Yeah, yeah. It's not Ever Chosen. Sorry.
It's not in that Deepkin. They ride sharks.
Davis MMA 125 asks.
Oh, that guy's cool too.
Is this guy cool? Cool.
Yeah, he was once ranked the best bantamweight fighter in Canada, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Hell yeah, dude! Keep that up.
Oh, he's hurt now. He has retired, but he's cool.
Oh, well, Jack's your fan. What do you guys think about Warcry? And what is known? From what is known, it sparked any interest from you guys? Yes, we're drooling over it.
Yes,
Can't wait.
I like the models. Like the smaller game.
Terrain looks awesome.
And my biggest the terrain is amazing, and I hope that it can be played in AOS. So instead of being like Necromunda, it's more just like
more like Kill Team.
Kill Team, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a Mordheim hipster. I'm very interested in Warcry.
R2D2 BB8 says, "Come on, you can't be both, man. Pick a lane." What, if any, factions do you think need buffs or nerfs? Buffs first.
Choose Warherd.
Nerfs.
Yeah. Nerfs?
Crystal War.
I've never played against them.
Oh, okay. You just can't, like,
Have you played against?
read paper and tell if the stats are good or...
I would,
I have to say, I'm undefeated against Crystal Core.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I haven't played against Hedon Knights Summoning, but looks real bad.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Nerfs. Buffs?
Buff Free Peoples.
Free People needs a buff. I'll co-sign on that. Free People.
Yeah.
Shout out Greenskins. That's what I'm going with.
That's not an army.
You can let a Greenskin player go 3 times in a row and you would still beat them. That's how much Greenskins need that.
Gutbusters need it the most. Shout out to Halo.
Gutbusters are
on that
okay.
One. They're just as deadly as they've ever been. Kiss Melm Tweak says, "What new faction, either new or an update to an existing one, do you really want to see in AOS?"
Free People. I like to update that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to agree because I think that's as far as like Age of Sigmar fiction, I feel like most people are really interested in still just like what are normal people like, and Games Workshop has touched on this with like the core book for 2nd edition. They had to just throw in some artwork about what are normal people like, and I think that's kind of everybody's go-to for finding themselves in the setting.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't play that army, I think everybody wants to know what do just regular people look like.
Yep. And for me, it's going to have to be, I want to know what's up with Tyrion and his elves.
Mm.
James Palmer asks, boxers or briefs? And then says, seriously, how many armies do each of you own? What armies belong to whom? Are the shelves and shoes painting room from IKEA? My gosh, this is a lot of questions, man. Okay, let's do them one at a time. How many armies do I own? I have 9 painted armies, and I'm moving on to about 13 total once they're all done painted. These shelves are from IKEA. They're called Billy shelves. They're cheap. But they keep the dust off, so that's nice. Let's see, what else is there? The armies that belong to whom? You want to touch on this one?
Oh, yeah, I was counting up my armies.
Yeah. Brent, you have Squigs and Gutbusters.
No, hold on. No, those are Jacks. Closet of Shame. Gloomspike gets Caradron Overlords, Ideneth Deepkin, Soulblight, Seraphim, Night Haunt, Jack's Gutbusters, Boxer Briefs.
Closet of Shame. Closet of Shame, Zinch, Beast Claw Raiders, Deepkin. Those are like in my closet. Partially painted or completely painted armies. Slanesh, Khorne, Kharadron Overlords, Iron Jaws, Fire Slayers, Stormcast. What's it called? And those combined, Fire Slayers, KO, and Stormcast make Lepus.
Oh yeah, Ephesian Defenders.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and everything else you see on the channel is me unless it's a guest.
Yeah, all that.
Like all that crap. All right, this is kind of a deep question for you guys. You ready? Can you tell me how you got in touch with the hobby, or how you keep in touch with the hobby, especially painting? For me, it ends up with being somewhat stressful since I want to look good and I see other people's models looking good. And this is from Viking Mayor. Right? He was elected, I guess.
I didn't vote for him. Okay, so...
It's kind of a motivation question.
Oh, if you have friends, I know hobby hangouts we do. Like, we'll be, like, right before bed, you know, I'll message these guys, anybody want a hobby hang? And we'll just do it like a FaceTime type thing. Also, like, I don't look at painted models. Like, I don't look at, like, the heavy metal team's version of the model. I don't do that. I'm just only
focus on your own deal.
Focus on mine. I can't compare it because comparison is the theft of joy. And, like, if I compare it to somebody else's model, I'm like, damn it, and you just want to get rid of it. But if your army looks good to you.
Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. Brent?
I can't paint.
Oh, jeez.
He's a great painter, but he also struggles with the same motivation.
He can paint.
I'm looking for the same answers you are.
Yeah. And the answer I give to people is the same one that Scott, the Miniature Maniac, gave us, which is create a routine. And stick to your routine, and when inspiration strikes, you can leverage that to do cool stuff, but when it doesn't strike, and it won't, usually, you have a routine to rely on. Mm-hmm. So, that's the answer. Make it a routine. Make it your thing you do. Move the needle an hour a day. Any plans to try out Stormcast Vanguard after the points drop? Calidors look totally decent. This is from Andrew Till. Yeah.
A friend of the channel, Doug, is painting up 9 of them, I think. So he...
we'll get that on the channel again.
We'll let him do it. I'll
beat him again.
I have 3 sitting in my closet of shame, but I'll see if Greg wants those.
They're just scratching the door. Jack, paint us, let us out.
What armies do you think look the best but play the worst? KO.
Yeah, that's a good one.
KO.
Yeah, I mean, I think even thinking about it narratively of this, I don't know, this super advanced fleet of Dwarden that have survived the Age of Chaos because of their technology, and they're all set up with all their guns, and then they get charged by literally anything and die. It's just...
Yeah, unanimous.
Max Bauman says, would it be possible for you to do a 4 Warlords kind of challenge? So they're talking about, they go into more detail here, but he's talking about like a slow growing campaign between all of us. I think campaign systems are really hard for us because they tend to lose viewership pretty quickly. So like lots of people watch the intro and then they see kind of how we rolled our warbands and they're like, yeah, I'm out. So I don't know. I would love to play one, and so I can't rule it out.
It's weird because we've done 2 campaigns. One, in the very first thing we did was Path to Glory, and the channel's starting out. And then we did a skirmish, and that didn't do too well. I would love to do a campaign. Path to Glory is my favorite way to play, and I would love to get that going. But it's just tough, getting everybody on the same page. And so, and it's easy just to like go record a match play or a narrative game.
Yeah.
But to continue, you're going to see the same army over and over and over again. It's like a commitment, and we haven't dove back into it yet.
We have tried to play a slow growth.
We were that close to doing Firestorm. It was gonna happen, and then it was some real life stuff came up, and then Mini Wargaming did theirs. Not saying we follow.
It was so much better than anything we could have ever done.
Yeah. So they did it. So
it was really good.
Yeah.
So seriously, go watch Mini Wargaming's Firestorm campaign. It's excellent. I mean, they did so much effort with the graphics and the map stuff they did, and
it was like
out of the park.
They got it.
Yeah, they got this. Adrian Ladd says, do you think that meeting engagements makes Beast Claw Raiders better?
Yes. 1,000 points changes the whole game up because you can't have war scroll battalions, and so it definitely changed. It makes it more level playing field. Even I thought it raised KO up a little bit.
Best army in meeting engagements.
I'm undefeated with it.
Yeah. Andrew Sternberg says, "Where does the name Shu come from?" Well, I grew up and lived the first 10 years of my life in Japan. And no, my last name is Shoemaker, and there's usually a billion marks around, so I just go by Shu, just to make it simple.
Say I used to be a shoe.
Yeah. But I have had coworkers named Shu that were from Japan, and they're like, "What the hell, dude?"
So then you had to go by Maker.
Yeah. I should do that next time.
Yeah, Maker.
Ninja Starfish says, "Can we have more Seraphim battle reports in the future?"
You're probably closer to finishing your army than me. Like my brother is a Seraphim player, Josh. You've seen him a couple times, and he paints very slow.
In every video, say, summon Jochaka and Jotoka.
Yeah.
Summon him in the comments, and he will come with his Seraphim. Maxwell McDougall says, "Why don't you play more games with Doug from 2+? We play with him every chance we get. We've been riding on his darn coattails this whole time, so..."
Yeah. Like, Doug is like the fourth member. Doug's... We're in the same chat. We hang out all the time.
He was in the first intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I screwed his name up. First episode. Yeah, you can go watch me screw up his name. Let's see. Kenzie McKeever.
Hey,
good old
Kenzie.
What up, Kenzie? Number 1. When are we going to see Korn back on the channel? Number 2. Do you guys have any plans for a sprawling narrative campaign anytime in the future?
Yeah, Korn is right over there on my phone, which is not my phone, it's his phone. But I recorded a battle report with Doug from 2+ Stuff. Hey, combine the two questions. And we played, and so shortly. And I based the Skull Taker. I based him. She painted him for me.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. So he's in the video?
Yeah. No, I didn't use him, but he's in the video.
Okay. Well, that might be why she's asking. And as far as the sprawling narrative campaign, we've already started a format for narrative videos. You'll tell the videos that are more narrative leaning because I do some funny thistle-down intro stuff or that kind of thing. Brent is the writer for all that stuff.
Brent's the man. That's his skill. He's a slow painter. But give him something like a topic to write about.
I paint with words.
And yes, mic drop.
Foskry says, "When are you guys doing a gathering of might?"
I want to do.
I
want to do another.
Yeah. I want to do another.
We'll see.
Yeah, it should be a siege also. Like he goes on it or she goes on to ask for this to have heavy artillery and bombardment and heavy fortified strongholds, etc.
Play with every model we have? Yes.
Atlas Avenger says, "What advice would you give to somebody trying to get into the competitive scene of AOS?"
Get in the competitive scene. It depends on your local area. We have a pretty decent local scene, especially shout out to the guys at Victoria's Secret and Andrew in particular. They took this scene from nothing to tournaments every month. Excuse me. Just play and realize what kind of game you're getting into, because match play at tournaments can be really unfun if you're not prepared. It's kind of like you get you take the nastiest stuff and rinse and repeat. Watch some battle reports, and especially people who are more aimed towards match play and tournament play, like Honest Wargamer, guys at Warhammer Weekly, Halo Twitch, give great advice. Even Radio Free Hammer Hall, they're geared towards competitive play, and I listen to and watch those guys, and it really helped me out. But also, don't always believe what other people say. Like, I've done very well with long strike crossbows, and I've just heard constantly that they're hot Chinatown garbage, but I win a lot with them. So
I don't know why Chinatown garbage has to be worse than others.
Have
I heard that we have a colossal possum? Is he around? The possum has arrived. All right, possum, I have a question for you. Are you ready for the question? Adrian Ladd asks us a spicy question. If you could retcon one lore point, what would it be?
If I could retcon one lore point, it would be one Queek Head Taker never died. Also, he became a Vermin Lord.
Peter Miera says, what do you guys think of tournaments, and have you participated in any? Also, why is your channel the greatest wargaming channel, and what's the secret to your success? I have an answer for that one, more seriously.
Okay, you start with your answer.
Okay, serious answer. The secret of our success is the fact that we are actually having fun. And we're not just trying to pimp our hobby and make it a hustle and crank out, Patreon stuff. I mean, yes, that's all cool stuff. Support people on Patreon, especially support the creators you love. Do that. But that is not our primary focus here. We are actually having fun, and we are doing this on purpose.
Another reason why I think we have done well as a wargaming channel is that we all complement each other in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Shu is hobby dad. He makes most of the scenery that you see on the channel. Paints most of the models. He's got the video, technical, editing side down. Jack, definitely the best player that we have. The talent. Former stand-up comedian. And I help a lot kind of with the clerical side of rules and trying to organize games. So all of us are kind of good at different things.
Don't sell yourself short. This guy knows all the rules.
We're very fortunate that we have each other to lean on in these different... I mean, there's so many different aspects of the hobby, and we're fortunate that we have a group that is kind of diverse in our skills.
And we do sketches.
That's a great point. Yeah, the
stupid
the doofy sketches.
Yeah, stupid intro. That helps. Playing tournaments, what to expect? To lose bad? Just go to the with the goal of playing 3 to 5 games, depending on if it's a GT or not. And I say tournaments are kind of like IPAs. Like the first few are just disgusting, and you're not gonna like it. But eventually, you'll be drunk enough to enjoy it. And go to meet people, and the game is part of it, but the experience is another part. You get to meet some really cool people. And I've never had... No, I'm not going to say that. I've rarely had a game where I didn't have a good time with my opponent. This game can be unfun.
Yeah.
Let's be real. There's things in this game where it's we try not to express that. We try to celebrate our opponent's victories as well as our victories.
Right.
And so it can be I've done that off camera with Britt before, where I'm being down in the dumps. So man.
What? Is that a question in there? What happens off camera?
No.
No, but that's a great...
That's
a great question.
We're not as positive sometimes off camera.
We've not spiked anybody's models, I think. Why no supercut of all the funny skits? Well, we did that on Christmas time. That's from Josh Schumacher.
We did a supercut of all the unfunny skits.
Just kidding. We should do that. Yoshikazu Kira returns with another question. How did this channel start? One thing I forgot to mention during the origin story was that I was inspired to start from Tabletop Minis, a pair of Scottish brothers that just had the most polite Warhammer experience I've ever seen. And I'm like, that's what I want. That's the kind of Warhammer I want to play.
And it was all open play too.
Yeah.
That's all.
It was before points. Yeah, and so that inspired me to play AOS and inspired me to start filming for YouTube. And I wanted to have a positive experience that showed that wargaming could not, could actually be fun and not have spiked models.
I have a question. The intro, the dice rolling. Did you make that?
I did not make that.
Who made
my friend Patrick made that.
Thanks, Patrick.
So I worked at a video game company, and Patrick's an amazing artist. And he had he was just doing some technical stuff with this smoke, the rendering that he was working on. And it's actually a really hard work to get that smoke to render. And I said, hey, if you want to throw a couple dice in there, I can use it as my YouTube intro. And he goes, and you literally farted that video out the next day. And it was 720p, and I didn't ask him to correct it. I'm like, I'll take it. I got lucky. Where do you get the ideas for the skits that you do with each episode?
Not just me. They both have great ideas for sketches. The thing is, you'll have a sketch idea, and then it's too grandiose. You're I want to film at a bar, the Star Wars cantina scene with AOS people, so I need costume and all this. I'm like, that's kind of why if we'd get a Patreon, I'd like to put money into making these sketches bigger. And the green scheme was a great idea. Colossal Possum. It's just sometimes you come up with a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you don't.
That's true.
My skits are 15 seconds. You can tell which ones are mine.
Dude,
they're basically vines.
Rerolling puns was his.
Takumi's 100 says, when do we see a Trogoth army? It is right there. I have to paint it. When will you make dwarf bat reps? Probably not going to happen unless
Fire Slayers, KO. Tons of dwarf bat reps.
Yeah.
No dispossessed.
No dispossessed yet. If we get a dispossessed army, I will not say no. Like, if you have one that's painted and you want to see it on YouTube, send it our way. And I'll give you credit every time we hear it. Favorite battle time cocktail? This is from Josh Schumacher. Brent's is crisp Renton Municipal Tap.
Yeah.
Diet Coke with lime if you have it.
Yeah.
Oh, word? I can.
Usually it's like Diet Barks.
Yeah.
Or water, which is fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever has alcohol in it.
Casey Robar says, congratulations. Thank you. My question is about Stormcast Eternals. When I first started, I was under the assumption they were more like golems, spirits attached to suits of armor, not humans. But how do you think about how they fare lore-wise compared to how they are? How do you think that would fare lore-wise compared to how they are?
I thought the same thing. I thought they were animated suits.
It's a pretty common conclusion.
Yeah. And then I was disappointed.
Well,
I thought it'd been cooler if they were.
Well, the novels are pretty cool, right? Like the story about the Lord Celestian who collapses the Rome Gate and runs into the Garden of Nurgle. There's some cool stuff out there. But
there's some interesting stuff. I think I prefer non-Stormcast Age of Sigmar books. I listen to them at work because you can get ear beaten from praise Sigmar, Sigmar,
Thunder,
Sigmar,
Drake, Storm,
Sigmar be praised. It's like, all right, man, I get it.
I think Stormcast lore is very cool, but one of the strengths of Age of Sigmar is that not all the lore is defined. So if you want to make Stormcast golems, go ahead.
You'd be wrong, but
what should I name my Chaos Sorcerer Lord? I'm going to comment back to you.
Then I wouldn't have to do it.
I'm commenting back on camera. I need more info. What faction?
Pucus Corpse Heart.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'll give you my old Tzeentch guy's name. If you give him a moon head, then he can be Prenumbrious Lunathrax. Ooh. And then you make the same model twice, and then he becomes Prenumbrious Lunathrax, Archduplicant of Tzeentch, and you just have the same model over and over. You can do that with Heralds of Tzeentch too.
Love it. That's why he's a writer, guys. He's a writer.
Yeah.
Bill Wilson asks, how do you think they should change how the order is decided and how deployment works?
As in
the rules, the game rules.
Yeah, I think deployment is fine. My only suggestion, though, is the way that the rule book is worded would suggest that in turn 1 you still dice off to see who goes first, but the tie is broken by whoever set their models up first. That's really still what it reads to me.
That would be game changing.
That would be game changing. But I feel like the only reason that it is the way that it is because Games Workshop came out and said, no, it's whoever sets up first goes first. But really, if you look at the wording, I'm still going to play, of course, how Games Workshop says to play it, but I kind of think that the way they don't want you to play it is a more interesting and kind of cohesive rule too, since all the other turns, the tiebreaker is based on who went who went first in that battle round. You don't have it at the beginning of the game, so using who set up first as the tiebreaker,
that would change so much about the game.
It would
be interesting,
and it eliminates or it greatly reduces the importance of drops, which isn't a term that's technically in the game. It's a fan-made term, but everybody that plays, especially competitively, knows how important it is.
Yeah, it's your opponent, how many drops you have. And if you go before and after, that way you can decide who's going to go first.
So if Games Workshop wants to lock down on that branding, change the rule.
Yeah, go for it, guys. We hope you're watching. Go for it.
For free.
Hot Bingo says, what old Warhammer fantasy characters do you think are now Stormcast? Rumors, certs, and hopefully just cause.
Felix is, because the new Gortrek audio drama, they say he is one. But and Balthasar Gelt.
Balthasar Gelt, sure.
He is one. Carl
Cetra.
Franz would go.
Cetra. He's Stormcast. They put skin and bones on him. He's like the Lich from Adventure Time. If he ever dies, he's gonna explode out of a giant baby and just be an awful Skeleton King again. Yeah, that's what I think.
I don't watch that show.
Deep cut, Boris Todbringer.
Ooh.
Internet_space_tough_guy says, do you ever cry yourself to sleep knowing there will never be an Empire book? I do.
I think that Free Peoples are going to be reorganized into the Empire of Sigmar.
Mm-hmm.
Including all the other people.
Devoted, right?
Devoted and Collegiate Arcane.
Old World did play through.
The gentleman who had them before left, and I need my free people fix. And as for the question, it came up with the idea to start the channel. Keep up the good work. Well, we already answered that like 5 times.
We'll see what can be done.
Yeah, we'll see what can be done. Like the free people would be amazing. I had an army like that, and it slipped through my fingers because I didn't have the heart to paint it, and I kind of regret it now.
We would love to have Dylan play on the channel again.
Yeah. Dylan, if you're watching, come play with us.
Come home.
Come home.
I miss you.
Tenebros says, does the price of an army become a huge problem?
Don't ask me that question.
Well, we seem to buy this crap and not even paint it or put it together. So
yeah.
We'll start there. Once you get to a point and you get older and money comes easier and you start to spend it more wisely, you hope, but sometimes you just buy plastic and stick it in your closet.
Yeah.
Without going on going down a massive wormhole, I think if you're already deep in the hobby, price is something that you kind of push to the side, but I think it's very difficult for people that are looking to get into it. That's kind of the first big hurdle is, do you want to spend a lot of money?
Mm-hmm. Why no ogres? From Josh Schumacher.
I haven't painted them.
He sold his.
And I had a whole Gutbuster tribe and I sold them. I'm like the anti-Doug. I cannot get rid of armies and not regret it. I always regret it, and I keep everything, and I have a big cabinet as a result. Do you plan on playing the Soulbound RPG when on the channel when it comes out? This is from Steve.
What?
We've talked about this.
We have talked about this.
What's the soul? Oh, the book.
Yeah, Soulbound
yes.
RPG.
Yes. I think we will.
We're going to try. There's a couple things we need to do. We do have 2 cameras. We do have microphones. I have an audio background, so we do have the equipment to do it. The trick is whether or not we can make it entertaining and worth watching.
He's an old school RPG nerd.
Yeah.
He can DM. He can do it.
Yeah, I've got some experience, but I will have to get the rust off the blade.
He has that Ninja Turtles role-playing game. I believe in you.
Many years of running the Ninja Turtles role-playing game. Scott Bill says, what are your thoughts on AOS as a tabletop game? Do you think it's superior to fantasy? Why or why not? And what do you like or dislike about it? Is it a good war game, etc.?
This is going to be a long answer.
Can I try the short one?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
It is not comparable to Ninth Age or Warhammer Fantasy. It's a different game entirely. The non-spicy answer there is that, yeah, I think it's a great game. I feel like the 3 ways to play is the reason why I'm in love with it, aside from Sword and Fantasy. Yeah, it's so many options. It's very mutable.
I think AOS has a very, very... it's the most fun I've had playing a tabletop game. I'll say that first. I enjoy the game, but it can easily be not fun. There's so many things in the game that can make it not fun, especially if you have 2 different armies on 2 different tiers, 2 different players on 2 different skill levels. It can be... I've made people quit the game before. Not intentionally like I'm going to make you quit, but it's just bringing a missile to a knife fight. Where it's like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted a game, but sometimes I think the game is my least favorite part of this whole thing, even though it's a good game. Like, I love the community. I love the friends I've made. I love going to tournaments and meeting people and all this stuff. That's what I really love about it. I love you guys and the feedback, the positive feedback and negative. I don't look that much like Charles Barkley, but there's so much cool stuff, and the game is just, the game's there too. And so but I enjoy it, but it can be unfun at times. So if you feel that way, You're not alone.
I think Age of Sigmar is a great tabletop game. I, like Shu, like the versatility that it has, multiple ways to play. I think it is a better game for hobbyists and for people that like to paint models, people that want to do narrative games, people that want to do campaigns. The game is more flexible than Fantasy Battle was, but I will say I do like a lot of the wacky rules in Fantasy Battle that, for simplicity's sake, did not transfer over to Age of Sigmar. I will admit that I sort of miss units running away and trolls going stupid, but
running people down
and running people down. I do admit that I miss that quite a bit, but Age of Sigmar has opened up a lot of things that Fantasy Battle never had, so I think I like both of them.
This is from Caleb the Nomad. What's your favorite movie and food?
Ooh, I love chicken bakes from Costco. That's my favorite food.
I did not know that about you.
I love it. It's so good. I dated a girl. I made her make them for me. She was a chef.
I'm gonna Thai food. I'm gonna start making you chicken.
They're so good.
Thai food. Watching the thing, eating Thai food, perfect evening.
Okay.
Nice. We gotta try that sometime.
The Matrix.
I'm down for having perfect
The
evening.
first one.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like chicken tikka masala. Obviously, you don't get to be all this without eating a tremendous load of chicken tikka
basmati
masala.
rice. Yeah.
And my favorite movie is Amélie, which is a French film about a weirdo.
Just a
now
the girl with black hair on the cover, right?
Yeah.
Now let's answer the same question, but with the worst answer we could think of.
Oh, right. What is the worst food, Brent?
Craft single. No, my favorite food is craft singles, and my favorite movie is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You sound like Klaus and Possum.
Why?
Did you know him?
Well, yeah.
That was a really good Klaus.
That was a good impression. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his. Black licorice is my favorite food. I can't even say that with a straight face. Oh, my brother eats it too.
And what movie would you watch while eating black licorice?
While eating black licorice, a movie I would watch is I Got the Hookup by Master P. I walked out of that movie as a kid. I was like, I like Master P. I'm about it. And it was awful. After I paid money and I left shortly after.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, holy moly. Yeah, man, I gotta say black licorice is like up there with some of the worst, most horrible crap I see people eat. I'm like, you're broken. What's wrong with you? This tastes awful.
It's like hate. It's so bad.
It tastes like, it's bad. It's bad. And as far as like, the best movie, actually, this is kind of a serious answer. House of Sand and Fog. It stars Jennifer Connelly, and I recommend it all the time. But it is like, just when you think it can't get worse, it does, and like you'll have tears coming down both sides of your face. You're like, oh, did it get any worse? And then it does, and then it does. I don't know. I would never watch that movie again. Like seriously, if somebody's like, "I'll give you $100 to watch a movie," I will not watch it. It's devastating. It's supremely performed and well written, but like no.
And on top of black licorice, this sounds awful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then eating black licorice, watching House of Sand and Fog. I'd rather get my my man boobs slammed in the door.
So, like, this is not a question, but the interesting about Shu is we'll come over and like record stuff. It'll be late at night. And then he will take you down this YouTube rabbit hole of just weird videos that you're like, I didn't even know this exists. He's like, oh, you know what? Well, check this out. Oh, this is a Icelandic rock band. They only yell when they sing, but there's no instrumentals. But like, they'll get this boys choir and they'll bring him in just for this one part, and then they get back together. It's like, what is this? And he will just show you random things, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's 1:45 now. Thanks a lot, Shu.
Yeah.
Your answer of what would have been the worst movie, I've never heard of that movie in my life, but that was exactly what I thought you were going to say.
So serious answer?
Just some movie that I've never heard of that sounds really deep but also disturbing.
Garbage Pail Kids. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and Brent's like probably top 10 worst.
Can I share a quick story? This was in Fantasy Battle, playing a siege game with 3 of my friends. And after the first turn, the other team, my friend offers to us, why don't we make a wager here? How about the loser has to watch the Garbage Pail Kids movie? To which my teammate is immediately like, done. And I was like, wait, I didn't agree to this. Okay, whatever. And we get to a point where we're pretty deep into the game, and something catastrophic happens where, if you haven't played Fantasy Battle, you just got to trust me that you didn't want Lord Croak to use the most powerful version of his most powerful spell because everybody around him dies. And then that happens. So while we're rolling to see as everything is exploding, my other friend is getting on the phone and calling places asking, hello, do you have the Garbage Pail Kids movie? And that is the best way to tell your opponent that
they are a game's clown.
Yeah.
We're dunking on you so hard, I'm calling Scarecrow Video and asking if they have the Garbage Pail Kids movie. You should start doing that.
Back when Blockbuster was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh my
yes,
gosh, I had you at deployment.
I had you at deployment. Brent has the best stories. We should do a story time with Brent.
Well, we already discussed it. We're going to have my son Isaiah reenact them as sketches.
Oh my gosh! You guys got to tell me this stuff. I'll make it happen.
Give him a little beard and just, that would be so cool. Alright.
10,000 subscribers. We
Thank
didn't do
you
this.
so much.
You did this. Thank you.
Like and subscribe.